Hey beautiful people, welcome back if you're a subscriber here, but if you're new, hey boo, go ahead and subscribe. I think you'll like it here and I think that we'll vibe. Today's video is going to be about the AmeriCorps program. After doing my video talking about my finances in grad school and how grad school is paid for, I got a request to do a video solely about AmeriCorps, which is the program that helped pay off my loans, pay me while I was in school, and give me a lot of other benefits. So we're going to talk all about it today. And by the way, if you didn't watch that financial video, it's up here in the card, so you can click that so you can go ahead and watch it and just have a preface to this first. So firstly, I wanted to let you all know what the mission of AmeriCorps is per their website, which will be in the description box. To improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement through service and volunteering. There are different branches to the AmeriCorps program. I will specifically talk about the ones that are catered to students because they have an education award attached to them. And I'm gonna pop up the visual that is a chart that just explains what it is. And like I said, the links are below because I know this is gonna be a lot of information to take in. So the first program would be state and national, and that's the one that I did. With that one, the time commitment is either part-time or full-time, and we'll talk about what that is a little later. The age for this program is 18 and up, so this is ideal for somebody that is in undergrad or in grad school like I was, but you have to be at least 17. The length of the service can vary. Me personally, my service was 12 months, so a year. My service environment was in a clinic. The benefits underneath the state and national is an education award and a living allowance, which is just a stipend that you get every 2 weeks to help you out with your living expenses. That is state and national, and let's move on to Vista. Vista is an all full-time AmeriCorps program for 12 months, and then they also have summer positions as well. You have to be at least 18 to do the Vista program, and that focuses on nonprofit work. That's the typical service setting and an organization that is fighting poverty. So with that one, the benefits that you get an education award or an end of service stipend, and then you also get a living allowance, which is that bi-weekly thing again. Next is NCCC. That one is full-time. You have to be between the ages of 18 to 26. The service length is about 10 to 11 months. This one is a little bit more physical. So underneath the service setting, they let you know on the website that this is a physically demanding, hands-on type of program, and you travel regionally. So it can be an arrangement of organizations, but just know you're gonna be getting your hands dirty, you're gonna be doing physical work. And the benefits underneath the NCCC program is an education award, a living allowance, but under this one, housing is also provided. So just throwing that out there. And the last one that we'll cover is the NCCC FEMA Corps. So that's a full-time commitment, the same age range, 18 to 26. It's a 12-month long service, and this one, you're assigned to projects that are identified by FEMA. So for this one, you can serve in an office or in a field setting all across the country. And the benefits are the same as the previous one. So you get an education award, you get that living allowance, and your housing is provided. There are definitely more branches than this, but those are the ones that I'm just gonna talk about, and you can refer to the AmeriCorps website if you wanna know anything else. And these are strictly me looking this up and regurgitating it for you. These are not the views of AmeriCorps or anything like that. This is just what I've looked up, but you can of course do your own exploration and go on the website and look into it. Let's talk benefits as it relates to the website. The living allowance is referred to as modest, and it's intended to cover basic experiences, which means don't expect to be going to State 48 on your living allowance, because they're covering a modest, a basic living experience for you to live decently, but it's modest. Another benefit of the AmeriCorps program would be money for your schooling, which that can be college or trade school. The education award is given to people who complete their allotted hours during their service term. Now, this education award can only be used for education-based expenses like paying for your tuition or repaying a student loan, but generally that's it for the education award. If there's a change in the quality or anything, I do apologize. My battery died and I had to charge it and come back. But where did we leave off? A caveat to remember is that you can only receive 2 educational awards. So me, for instance, I did 2 years as an AmeriCorps member and I completed both terms. So I received my 2 education awards. If I were to do AmeriCorps again, that means that I will only get the stipend, but I'm not eligible to receive another education award at the end of my service. So keep that in mind. Loan deferment and entrance forbearance. These are mostly for federal loans, but helpful nonetheless. Professional development. While working through AmeriCorps, you gain a lot of transferable skills. And personally, during my service, our AmeriCorps leaders would have meetings with us and they went over resumes and interviewing and lots of life skills that we'll need for this position and even beyond. Once you're an AmeriCorps member, and especially once you complete your service, you can really leverage the employers within the AmeriCorps network, and that will work to your advantage. There are hundreds of employers from private to public to nonprofit sectors that will give you a chance strictly because you're an AmeriCorps member. And if you're looking for a governmental job, since AmeriCorps is a governmental agency, it does give you more points on your application. This is not anything that I've tested out, but it's something that I've heard from many elder AmeriCorps members that work in government. Even more than that, AmeriCorps alums get special benefits, and if you're still in school, special scholarships. So it's important to look out for things like that. And as you can see, there are lots of benefits to becoming an AmeriCorps member. Next, I'm just going to talk to you about my personal experience with AmeriCorps and how everything transpired. So I was made aware of the program through a classmate of mine who was currently in the program. She let us know like, hey, my supervisor's looking for more people, and kind of gave us a brief overview of the benefits that you can receive in the program. So I went ahead and emailed the AmeriCorps rep. And from there, I was referred to the program application to fill it out. And that way the actual program directors could interview me. And it's up to them, of course, if they want to keep me. So I interviewed with the clinic and I was chosen to fulfill that position. And therefore, AmeriCorps was paying for me to be there. Because the position that I did at the clinic technically was a intern position that is unpaid. But going through AmeriCorps to do it, they're the ones that paid. During our orientation for the clinic, we had a break-off session with our AmeriCorps leaders for that program where they went ahead and broke down everything that we needed to know. We got to choose whether we wanted to do part-time or full-time based on what our schedule was looking like. And during that, I chose part-time since it was my first year. I just wanted time to adjust. I didn't want to have to rush things. And yeah, also I started a little later. I started in January and my hours had to be completed by August. So I chose part-time for the safe option. In our AmeriCorps program for the clinic, we had monthly meetings. And in these meetings, we would discuss any program updates or anything that we needed to know. And we always did, of course, some like team building icebreaker type of things. And before COVID, these meetings were in person and we had food and everything. Like, it was a really nice thing. But after COVID, they became virtual, and I was given this beautiful notebook by one of my AmeriCorps leaders, and it just has the AmeriCorps logo, the clinic logo, and then it has my name embossed into this book. So briefly, I'm gonna go over what the agreement was for my first year, and I actually have the notes that I took written in this book, so I'm gonna read them from here. And this is specific to what I had to do. I don't want to say that this is for every program, but this is my experience, okay? So for us, we had to do 900 hours, and the dates that I had was from January 20th to August 9th. That was the amount of time that we had to get those 900 hours. And 900 was part-time. So times 2 that, full-time was about 1,800 hours. And I just didn't, no. The living allowance for part-time that year ended up being about $580 every 2 weeks. And the education award at the end, if you were to fulfill your service for part-time, was about $3,000. We used an online time tracking system to keep up with our hours because, of course, how are we going to remember this? 20% of those hours could come from trainings or professional development. And basically what those are, any type of meetings, so including our AmeriCorps meetings, the meetings that we had at clinic. It could include class hours if you're a student, and also like organizational type hours. So if you, let's say you're an officer for my program, it was a health-based program, a social determinants of health. So anything health related that's educational, that's like a meeting type of thing or a class, you can count that towards 20% of training hours. So I would track everything from me being an officer in our Black Excellence in Public Health group. Any work we did for that, I counted it towards my hours. And there was an approval process that we had to go through with our AmeriCorps reps. And for classes, we had to fill out a class approval sheet where we submitted the syllabi of all our classes so they can say like, yes, this works, and approve it. That way, every time we have class, we can go ahead and count it towards the hours. But once you reach that 20% of whatever the hours are, whether you pick full-time or half-time, you can no longer count any type of training or professional development or class. Once you max out the 20 hours, that's it. And the remainder of the 80% has to be from direct service, which direct service for me was time in clinic, but also volunteer opportunities. So you couldn't get paid for it, and it generally did have to be like hands-on community help type of work, and you can get hours for that under direct service. Yeah, so I definitely did that, and some of the direct service came in the form of clinic opportunities. Like we had drive-through baby showers for the patients. We had food distributions, drive-through food distributions for the clinics. But also I did do outside service. Like once I saw, okay, I just need to get more hours, I would volunteer at the Houston Food Bank. That would count. And I also used to be a mentor for like a girls development type of program, like a girls mentorship program for high schoolers. And anytime I did activities with them or went to things with them, because I was directly mentoring and directly serving, those counted as direct service hours. That honestly is the main rundown. So the first year, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little difficult for me to get my hours because you saw the time frame that I had to get that done. And COVID also started during that. So what ended up happening my first year is that they kind of, I don't know the official term for it, but basically because of COVID, everybody got their education award, regardless of if you hit your hours or not. But I did hit my hours the first year, and I exceeded my hours because once school was done for the spring semester, what I ended up doing was changing my clinic hours to full-time. Since I wasn't taking summer classes that summer, 8 to 5, I was working for the clinic, just getting my hours. So 40 hours a week plus any extra things that I did, which I did do extra, like direct service through the other activities. So I ended up getting my hours. It wasn't easy because 8 to 5 every day, but it happened, and cool. And for the second year was definitely trying. There was no automatically getting your service award, and I felt like I did the max amount that I could considering the school obligations that I still had, having to plan around classes. And when I was doing the math was not mathing, and I realized pretty far out, like, yeah, going at this rate, I'm not gonna reach my hours, but I don't see a way that I can reach my hours. And so let me tell you about some of the different exits that they have. So if you were to not complete your hours, of course you get your bi-weekly stipend until the end of your term, but you just wouldn't get the education award. But there is something called a CPC, that's a compelling personal circumstance. So with that, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the wrong definition, but I'm just going to give you what I can. This is all Googleable information, so definitely Google it. Basically what that is like if a loved one were to pass away and it significantly causes you to not be able to fulfill your service, or if you end up having like a health condition that makes you not able to fulfill your service. So anything that hinders you, that's a personal, like a compelling personal circumstance, it will be reviewed and possibly you will be able to get your education award. Possibly. But also because of the world that we live in right now, there is such thing as a COVID exit right now. And that is, hypothetically, if you were to catch COVID and not be able to do whatever your AmeriCorps job is for, let's say, 2 weeks or a month, or basically it takes a good chunk out of your time that you weren't able to work, and now you cannot catch up on your hours. Like now you're always behind hours. You are eligible for a COVID exit. So I believe those are the only 2 options. Either those 2, or you fulfill your hours, or you don't fulfill your hours and you just don't get it. But the AmeriCorps program is definitely amazing, and I'm so happy that I was introduced to it through my classmate. I would definitely suggest any undergrad, grad school student to look into it, because anything and everything will help. And if you want to see how I use that AmeriCorps money, if you haven't watched that video already, definitely please check out my financial video, because I talked about what I did with my education awards, how I did the whole paying off my loan interest, because they do pay off your loan interest for the time that you're an AmeriCorps member. Yeah, I give all those details in that video, but I just wanted to brief you all a little bit on the program and on how I got into the program and kind of just how it functioned. So I tried to go as in-depth as I could, but of course, if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comment box below. If it's a lengthy question that has maybe some personal details in it, you can also email me. My email is always in the description box. And if you made it this far, I think I deserve a like, because there's no gatekeeping around here. I just gave you what needed to be gave. So please like this video, subscribe, turn on notification bells if you want to always be able to keep up easily with what is being uploaded to my channel. And thank you all so much for watching. It really does mean the world to me. And also, last thing I'm gonna say, if you have any public health video ideas that you would like, please let me know. I'm trying to stay as creative as I can, considering that I started off kind of showing my experience, but I'm not a student anymore. Now I'm trying to backtrack and tell you all the things that I used that made my experience better, easier, more efficient. Anything that can make your life better, that's what I'm trying to cover. So if you have any questions about anything or want to see me talk about something in particular, let me know, and that can definitely happen. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next.
It's time to post up. Fix your credit, girl, get at it, get your bag up. Get that shit and get back down. Go get that degree, go.